The first thing that broke me wasn't the words. It was the way she flinched. I reached for her wrist in the dark, the way I'd done 1,000 nights before, half asleep, instinctive, seeking reassurance. Her skin recoiled under my fingers like I'd burned her. "Don't touch me," she said, sharp and cold. Then, after a pause that felt deliberate, cruelly measured, "Love must be earned." The ceiling fan hummed overhead, chopping the silence into pieces. I lay there staring at the faint crack in plaster, my hand suspended midair like I'd committed a crime. My heart pounded with confusion, then embarrassment, then something darker, fear. "Earned?" I whispered. "What does that even mean?" She turned her back to me. "It means exactly what it sounds like." That was a night everything tilted, though I wouldn't admit it yet. I told myself she was stressed. Work had been brutal. Her mother's health was declining. We'd been married 11 years. Love doesn't evaporate overnight. I clung to logic the way drowning people cling to debris. But logic has a way of rotting when ignored. The signs had been there for months. Her phone, once left face up on the counter, now lived locked and hidden like a secret diary. She laughed differently, shorter, tighter, when she came home late. She started showering the moment she walked in, as if scrubbing something unseen off her skin. When I asked questions, she smiled and answered them perfectly. Too perfectly. "Why are you looking at me like that?" she asked one night over dinner. "Like what?" "Like I'm already guilty." I laughed, a hollow sound. "I'm not. I just miss you." She looked at me then, really looked, and for a moment I thought I saw guilt flicker behind her eyes. But it vanished just as quickly. "You've been distant too," she said. "Maybe we both stopped trying." That sentence became her shield. Every time I felt uneasy, I turned it inward. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe I was boring. Maybe I had stopped earning her love. So I tried. I cooked dinner she loved, left notes in her bag, booked a weekend getaway she canceled last minute because of a client emergency. I watched her from across rooms, memorizing her, afraid she was already slipping out of reach. The night I found the receipt, it was raining hard enough to rattle the windows. I was folding laundry, hers and mine mixed together like our lives used to be, when a thin white slip fluttered to the floor. "Hotel. 2 nights. A place downtown. Not cheap. My name wasn't on it." My chest tightened, but denial rushed in fast, protective. Maybe a work conference. Maybe she booked it for a friend. I rehearsed explanations as I waited for her to come home, each one thinner than the last. When she walked in, damp hair loose around her shoulders, she looked almost radiant, alive in a way she hadn't been with me in months. I held up the receipt. My hand shook despite my effort to stay calm. "Can you explain this?" She stared at it. Too long. Then she sighed, set her keys down carefully, and said, "You weren't supposed to find that." The room felt suddenly airless. "So it's real," I said. Not a question. Her shoulders slumped, and in that moment she looked small, human, exhausted. "It didn't start the way you think. It never does." "He listens to me," she said, sitting at the table like we were discussing bills. "He makes me feel seen. I didn't plan for it to happen." "And yet," I said, my voice cracking, "you planned the hotel." She winced. "I know I hurt you, but you have to understand." I felt invisible here. Anger flared, hot and sharp, but beneath it was something worse. Grief. I realized I was mourning not just my marriage, but the version of myself who believed in it. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just nodded, over and over, like if I moved slowly enough the world wouldn't collapse. "I need time," I said. She nodded back, relief softening her features. "Take all the time you need." That was her mistake. The next morning, I did something she never expected. I didn't beg. I didn't interrogate. I didn't punish her with silence. I called him. His number was saved under a woman's name in her phone. That detail burned itself into me as I dialed. He answered, surprised but polite. I introduced myself. There was a pause, long enough for him to understand exactly who I was. "I'm not here to fight," I said, and I meant it. I just want the truth. He hesitated, then exhaled. She told me you were already checked out, that you didn't touch her anymore. I closed my eyes, remembering her words in the dark. Love must be earned. She told me you didn't care, he continued, that she was planning to leave. Something inside me went very still. After we hung up, I sat alone for hours, replaying every conversation, every accusation turned inward. I saw it clearly now, not just a betrayal, but the narrative she'd built to justify it. To him, to herself. When she came home that night, I was waiting at the table. She smiled cautiously. "Did you think about what you want to do?" "Yes," I said. My voice was steady, terrifyingly so. I slid my phone across the table. On the screen was a message draft, already sent, to her parents, her sister, our closest friends. Not vicious, not dramatic, just honest. Dates, facts, no embellishment. Her face drained of color. "You didn't," she whispered. "I did," I said, "because love doesn't get earned by rewriting the truth. And I won't carry your guilt for you." Tears spilled down her face. "You're destroying me." I stood, finally feeling the weight lift from my chest. "No," I said softly. "I'm just stepping out a lie." She reached for me then, instinctive, desperate. I stepped back. For the first time in months, the flinch was hers, not mine. And in that silence, I realized the most shocking truth of all. The betrayal hadn't ended our marriage. It had freed me from begging to be loved by someone who had already decided I